Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Inside the Dressing Room. I'm your host Dhaka. Today was something of a special day for BCB. The European Union, EU, have shown keen interest to work with Bangladesh Cricket's governing authority. To talk about that in detail, I've got Atif Azam with me. Atif, it's a bit unusual, but something of a very positive, could be a positive step for BCB. I want to know the detail from you. What happened actually? Why you wanted to meet BCB?
No, it was kind of a brainstorming session between EU and BCB, because EU Ambassador Michael Miller went to BCB today and met with BCB President Farooq Ahmed. They spoke at length. Farooq Ahmed even given him a jersey, national team jersey as a token of present. But the main point in that discussion was that EU want to come forward and join hands with BCB in some aspect or the others. There were different options being discussed in that meeting, like if they want to come forward and help in infrastructural development or things like that, or they come forward for any other sponsorship deals. And from what I understand, that they're very keen for women's cricket and disabled cricket, EU to get associated with those cricket. But along the way, I will not be surprised if I see EU in the upcoming Zimbabwe series with some kind of association with BCB. So that's what I know till now, as far as EU and BCB is concerned. But it's a very positive move for both the board and for Farooq Ahmed himself, because he could manage to attract EU and come forward to get associated with them, because it can happen that because it's a European Union, a lot of other things might come into terms.
Right. And what do you think, Atif, how BCB can help the European Union? Because we know that the European Union, there are a few countries which play cricket regularly over there. So in which way BCB can help them, if help is needed from our side?
Yeah, if there's a long-term deal, then both parties will have to give and take. It's not like that EU will only be giving something or BCB will be receiving it. BCB might help them with technical helps, like BCB's advanced technical points, like the coaches and all those things. They can share
technical expertise.
Technical expertise. They can always share it with EU in the coming days. But I think that we are thinking too far ahead. As far as right now, EU is keen to get associated with BCB in some form, and let's keep it till that. And if there is if the whole plan gets bigger, then probably. But initially, what I understand is that EU is shown keen interest in joining hands with BCB and Bangladesh Cricket in some kind of association, and they will be happy to associate with them.
Right. Atif, staying on the course with BCB, BCB can announce the new players contract in some time, maybe in 1 or 2 hours as we record this show. But before that, I've heard that news, and Daily Sun, we are covering that. We already covered that news on online, that Mahmudullah Riyad has opted to stay away from the contract. Any updates on that from you?
Mahmudullah Riyad opted to stay away from contract is not the right word, I hope. I hope that he has requested the board not to consider him for central contract from March onwards.
Right.
So he'll get the salary of January and February naturally.
Right.
In the last proposed contract that was tabled up in the last board meeting,
he was in B category, right?
He was in B category. That is yet to be approved. I think the board got the approval now. They must have fixed up whom they are going to get in. Since the Champions Trophy, there is a huge talk regarding whether Mahmudullah or Mushfiq should stay or should retire right now, and he is requesting board not to consider him for central contract. Is certainly a way toward that direction.
But does that mean we are seeing the end of Mahmudullah also? Because Mushfiq 2 or 3 days back he announced. Now it's Mahmudullah. So are we seeing the end for both of them?
Not as of today, because probably Mahmudullah has some plans regarding his retirement. He might want to retire from the ground against the Pakistan in July.
Right.
He might. But one thing is for certain, both of Mahmudullah Riyad is not considering himself to play in the 2027 World Cup.
Right. He's not looking that far ahead.
He's not, yeah.
And if Mahmudullah wants to say adios from the ground, what options do BCB have? Can they say goodbye to a Bangladeshi bona fide legend in the Pakistan series, as you have mentioned, or can they arrange a special ceremonial match? What the tradition says, or what do you know?
I think traditionally we don't get farewells.
That's the biggest concern.
That's the biggest concern, and probably one reason for this is Masharin Murtaza, who is yet to get retired.
Right.
So we don't have the tradition of giving farewell to cricketers. But if Mahmudullah would be lucky, would claim himself lucky if he get a farewell from the ground, and that to an international match. Both Mushfiq, we have covered that match. Mushfiq received Guard of Honor from Mohammedan.
Exactly.
Whereas it could have been a national Guard of Honor.
Exactly.
So, and I don't blame board alone. I blame both the parties. Because both the parties, there's some kind of communication gap that led them to this way, this part. If the communication was well good, so in that case, he could have get a Guard of Honor from his national teammates. It looks odd, Mahama, or say, Tain Iqbal getting a farewell in the BPL final.
Right.
Whereas he could have got a farewell in a
national colors.
National colors. So these things, but if Mahmudullah can get a Guard of Honor from the national colors, then nothing any better than that.
Atif, one thing I would like to discuss with you in a short length, that why this culture did not grow up in Bangladesh, because a player like Mahmudullah and Mushfiq are, we saw in the case of Mushfiq that he at least announced it on social media, but Mahmudullah haven't announced anything yet, but he opted to stay away from the central contracts. It gives a sign to something that is coming up. Why is that? Why the players are thinking like that? We saw in case of Mahmudullah that he, in the Zimbabwe series, he announced his retirement.
After scoring 100.
After scoring 100, he certainly got a Guard of Honor from his mates from the test matches. From that we got to know that he has retired. Why that keeps on happening in Bangladesh cricket?
What I'm mentioning is that they don't receive Guard of Honor at their home ground. Mahmudullah also announced his retirement of the T20s in India.
Exactly.
So he received some kind of
felicitations, yes.
Felicitation in India, but they don't, I think that they don't know when to call it a day. Right. Or they don't plan their end.
Right.
I mean, at the end of it's very natural to bat, at the end of the career, everyone wants to play 6 more months, wants to play 1 more year. Because I was very surprised yesterday, seeing Rohit Sharma saying that I'm still not retiring from ODIs.
After winning the Champions Trophy.
After winning the Championship. Everybody wrote him that it is his last Championship final.
But he denied.
He denied. So a player like Rohit Sharma can stay back. So Mahmudullah can always give him an example and say that why you are pushing me. But I think the player should know when to say. I always like Tamim Iqbal's one quote, and that remains very close to my heart, that you should always retire at a time when people can say that you still have 1 or 2 more years to give.
Exactly. And I hope Mahmudullah's end comes in a good way.
Because that's the end of the Fabulous Five.
Well, Atif, I hope Mahmudullah will get a proper send-off from BCB and fans alike. That's unfortunately all the time we have for you today. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
Folks, that was yet another episode of Inside the Dressing Room. I'll be back soon with another episode. And till then, you keep your eyes on dailysun.com/sports. You take care.